Hello and welcome back. This is the second part of the EU4 game pacing video, the guide. Now, as I was saying, let's do a recap of Age of Discovery. I was telling you guys that in Age of Discovery, you should focus on building up your economy by try to avoid wars unless you have to. You should build some buildings to boost your economy. Get some manpower for your armies. Get some extra techs and production buildings, blah blah blah. You should catch up in tech. You should get the ideas. You should definitely get the ideas because you need the ideas to blob. For example, you need the boost from military. You need the humanist ideas for rebels. You need administrative ideas to lower your coring costs. You need diplomatic or influence ideas to lower aggressive expansion. How you do it is up to you. Now, moving on, we go into 1500s, the 16th century. Now, actually, the Age of Discovery don't end until about 1520. Usually. I mean, it's totally random, but I would say the second phase of the game comes when you have unlocked Tech 10 of administrative tech, because it also unlocks you the third idea set. Now, usually you would lag behind in administrative tech no matter how hard you try, and military tech would usually be the thing that never gets behind. And so usually, even though you unlocked tech 10, by then your mil tech might already be 11. So it's the actual date and the year will differ, but it's around 1520 to 1530 by the time you can unlock the third idea group and start to fill it. But nevertheless, let's assume now we have a humanist idea completely filled out for rebel suppression. We have defensive ideas for an extremely decent army. And we just filled out a few of the administrative ideas. Everyone take administrative for co-creation cost reduction. That's where we're gonna be. So by this time, 1520, which you start the second phase of the game, coincide with Age of Reformation, you have about 80 years, give or take, to do something and play in this age before the admin efficiency and absolutism thing comes in. So what should you do? Like, what are you going to do with what you have at hand? Now, if you have done everything right, like you survived, you stayed alive, you start to be at peace, you're setting yourself up, you're boosting your economy, right? You're boosting your economy. You are okay. So let's say you boost your economy, then you have the money. You start buying better advisors, so you get more points. With more points, you're ahead in time or catching up with tech. You got your necessary ideas filled out, everything you actually need, and you also unlocked a bunch of your national ideas to further boost your power. Considering your national idea isn't absolute trash, like Byzantium. So then you have what we call a power base. Because right now you should have some manpower, you have the money, you can start to fill up the force limit. You can pay for them, you can get them feed, and you can also get some decent generals, etc. So, what are you going to do now? Now, there's only one thing left to do. Considering you play your cards right, you're strong, and you can start to challenge people. Assuming you're not starting as the biggest guy, that is, but you can start challenging people. You have more points that you can spend. One thing to note is that you can see here at Tech 10 we're 11 years ahead in time, and at Tech 11 we're 24 years ahead in time. So what this tells you is that the spacing between these two techs are exactly 13 years apart. And what this also tells you is that you have 13 years worth of income in monarch points. And that is tremendous. We're talking about 13 years. Let's say you get 10 points a month. So this is the amount of points you get in 13 years, which is 1,560. I'm assuming you only get 10 points a month. In reality, in this age, by the end of the 15th century, you should be able to afford a level 2 advisor at, yeah, and you should be getting more than 10 points. So let's say you get 1,600 points, right? Then with some ideas already filled, your tech cost will not be 600. It would be a little bit cheaper. So you have a bit more than 1,000 points for you to spend on other things in each category in those 13 years. And to make this simpler, you have 1,000 points per category. Between each tech, you can spend on other things, such as for admin, you can core things, buy down inflation, stability. Diplomatic wise, you can go and annex things. You can pay for your unjustified demands in wars, or more useless, you can promote mercantilism. And for militech, you can boost development. You can hire generals. So 1,000 points for each is a lot when you think about it. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to block. And the game actually helps you and promotes you to do it. Because when you look at the abilities, first of all, this one, for example, blocking impact on siege, +1. So it makes you siege faster if the province is blocked, right? And it works even for inland provinces and inland forts. So you don't even need to block it because it's inland, but it will just give you the bonus flat. Then this one, religious wars, which is insane because it reduces the war costs of provinces by 25%, which is equivalent to getting an imperialism CB right now. This thing will be 25% cheaper, which means you can take up to 133% war score worth of things that you normally can't take, obviously. You can only take 100. But now with this thing, you can take 133% worth of war score of provinces. As long as the guy has different religion than you. Now, then mercenary discipline, +5, always useful. I mean, usually you still won't be able to fill a full mercs army, but hey, +5 discipline, why not? And then this one is useful for the global trade, or to some small extent print and press, but this one is pretty much self-explanatory, and it doesn't quite a game changer. So I would just put that lower on the priority list. Now, this one is about converting things. You convert stuff with your missionary, you get prestige. With prestige, you can do a lot of things. Because prestige lowers your aggressive expansion outright, and also speed up the decay of the aggressive expansion. So, let's say we do a war with Hungary, right? Let's say I do a war with Hungary, right? With 0 prestige. Oh, yeah, then there will be no bonuses. We have to turn off the stupid shitty AI. It's making the game so laggy. So, now, you can see one province is going to give me 13 aggressive expansion. But if you get the prestige up to 100, it's 10% less. I mean, 10%, you will say. How is that going to help me? Well, when you're taking stuff like this, it can be life or death. So let's make it a bit of a better scenario. So this is, so let's say we get a peace deal like this. At minus 100 prestige, you get so many people trying to kill you. At 0 prestige, you get this. At 100 prestige, you get even less. So you can see how much it's gonna change things. So if you have religious ideas, your prestige are basically pretty easy to get, because you get another +1 from the idea itself. Then you take that one, you convert things, you get infinite 100 prestige. Enough said. So in this age, you can go to war. You should have the money to go to war. You should have enough manpower to sustain a war. You should have enough spare points to core what you can take. I mean, you can see that now it's like half the price now, because courtesy of admin ideas and your national ideas as the Ottomans. So it's cheaper, it's more affordable, it's not ridiculously expensive to make it a state. So this is the time to go to war. I mean, obviously, you can't take things. I mean, you don't want to take things that you can't core. And on top of that, you also want to get ideas to lower your aggressive expansion, because you can't core things that you can't take. Right? Like, admin ideas is not completely compulsory that early in the game. You could have just taken influence, for example, right now, I have all these guys coalitioning me, right? So let's see what happens if we take something else. We take this idea, which lowered by 20%. Now, we're safe, right? This is definitely doable. You can see Austrian Bohemia is gonna join, but they're gonna be out in no time. And that's only because I did an OCB. So we already have 20 around here. But this is my point. You have the points, you feel the ideas, and that is going to let you take more things in the war, let you integrate these things easier, and ultimately make wars actually profitable. Because early game wars are not profitable. You can't really take things that are going to make a big difference. So ultimately, what your goal in this age, you have 80 years of time. What you want to do is that you want to make a push to the trade companies, because trade companies are the real money maker, and even more so after the updates. Trade companies are gigantically overpowered, so no matter where you start as, you want to block towards the trade companies. And also, it's fine that you don't reach the trade companies regions by the end of by 1600. This is totally fine, but you should make a push for it. And even if you don't, let's say you're the Ottomans, you focus on conquering the Levants, you do everything your mission tells you to do. You take the entire Balkans, you take the entire Anatolia, you take Syria, you take Egypt. You state these things, all of it. Let's say you did these, and you don't have any trade companies, you have states, but this is fine. Ultimately, you want to reach 1000 development by the end of this age, which is 1600, because of the absolutism mechanics. And I'll tell you more when we go into the next age. But this is the goal. In case you're only interested in what you want to do right here, this is what I would tell you.